Hey YouTube, I'm making this video to address an issue. Uh, I feel like I'm being bullied, or at least, I got a hater. I mean, how could I have a hater? I have 46 subscribers and already somebody's hating. But I'm not going to be that guy going around, having a fight with the guy. And yeah, Michael, I'm going to leave your last name out of it, but you know who you are. Yeah, going on about some kind of scam with the new people on YouTube, starting off with videos and right away talking about wanting money, needing things fixed and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he's actually going on and saying boo hoo and reading or saying what I had said. And because in one of my latest videos, I happen to mention that, times are tough. I'm having a rough time, and my van is breaking down on me. Everything seems to be breaking down around me. And I happen to mention that I would probably start a GoFundMe page because I've seen people do it, like the Chris and Holly show. They've got one. And I didn't mean it to sound like I'm going to start mooching off of YouTube people. In fact, I got to show you something. Because I have a bunch of friends. Here, I'll let you check this out over here. My beautiful chainsaw. That thing's older than I am. Okay, wrong page. That's someone else right there. Okay, Facebook in a new tab. Now let that load. I don't have very, very high speed out here. But see, this is me. If you want to check out my profile, Steve Hoskins, Scrapper Steve. And just scroll down to my friends. See? Oops. See right there? That says 5,000, my friend. I'm at the maximum. It's 5,000 friends on Facebook. And believe me, you don't get that many friends on Facebook from being a prick. I'm a very nice guy, always helping others out. And just to let you know, seriously, I'm always doing for others. I'll give the shirt off my back. I mean, I'm broke, and if somebody calls me at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're stuck, I'll go and help them. And I regularly do the food bank run for 2 communities out here. One of them is every month, and the other one is on call when their truck breaks down. I use my own van, and it's pretty far. It's like back and forth, loading and unloading. We're talking like a 4-hour deal. It's like half a day. And I'm not doing it for the money. They just barely pay my gas. My time is not included in there, and I don't even benefit from any of the food. Sorry. I guess if I did ask, I could get, but I'm a very fussy eater. I'm a vegetarian or borderline vegan. And anyway, so that's it. Look, I don't want to have any arguments with you, Michael. I just, like I said in my reply to you, I've had it pretty tough. Like when I was in my 20s, I was general manager of the biggest screen printing company in the greater Montreal area, which was quite an accomplishment for a kid that never finished high school. But I just had a knack for screen printing, and I got into this mom and shop, and we were producing in the area of 100 dozen a day of t-shirts. And the boss thought that was quite a bit. And here I come along, and I'm analyzing everything. That's a bit of my autism. There's the good and the bad parts. The good part is I'm a genius. I can fix anything I touch, or almost. And this is what happened. I was observing how everything was going, and they had a great big printing machine in the corner that nobody was using. Everything was done by hand, and I would stay late at night doing overtime because I was the screen maker, the silk screens. And so I'd stay late and I'd play around with that machine, figure out how it worked. I taught myself how it worked. And then one day I asked the boss, I said, why don't we ever use that thing? He says, nobody knows how to use it. I said, I do. So he says, really? So we did a test run. So I made the largest screens to fit it. And next thing you know, here we are pumping out 300 dozen a day. So, and half the employees, because you only needed 2 up front and 1 at the end of the dryer. Instead of having, like, if we were doing a 6-color job, you needed 6 people, each with a screen, plus you needed like 2 people ahead of the gang going around this oval-shaped table, 2 people putting the shirts on, and then here we come a whole gang of people printing by hand, and then another 2 to remove the shirts, plus somebody at the end of the dryer taking them off the dryer and folding them. So that was a gang of people right there. And in no time, we were a multi-million-dollar corporation with 3 huge automatic printing machines. So yeah, my bosses loved me. And I loved the job. I was doing great. I bought my first house, paid cash for it, and that ain't no bullshit. Okay, it wasn't a $100,000 home. It was like a 4-season cottage. But it was perfect for me. It's where I wanted to be. I hated being in the city. I never wanted to live there. I've always been like a suburban type of guy, or, out in the, not quite the woods, but I just don't like being around people. I'm not very social. So, yeah. Anyway, I hope I'm not boring you guys, but that's it. I went from rags to riches pretty quick. And then I met my first wife. And it didn't take very long for her to figure out that even though I had aspirations that I would retire in my 40s, because I was like buying and selling properties, I was flipping properties, I was buying and selling cars and trailers, and you name it, I was into it on my spare time. And, well, she had other plans, and that's it. She left me, and just as she did, here comes that free trade with Mexico, and all of our printing jobs went out there. So, not only did I get pulled through the ringer with her, but I lost my job that paid over $2,000 a week because I had bonuses and stuff that my bosses were giving me on production. The more production came out, like if we pulled extra shifts and stuff, got the orders out, made the customers happy, I'd get bonuses. So I was really happy about that. But it didn't last very long. So yeah, next thing I know, I'm sitting bankrupt, looking for anything I could get my hands on to keep working, because I'm not a career welfare person. I always wanted to work. And I wasn't able to get back into a general manager type of position because when I was in my 20s, I looked like I was 17. I always had a baby face type of thing, and I didn't want to dress in a suit. I was more a t-shirt and jeans type of guy. So when I go into, job interviews, nobody took me seriously, which was to my disadvantage because I ended up pretty much with jobs that didn't pay too good. But I did a lot of things on the side, creating my own type of work, going to auctions, buying stuff and selling. And this went on, and I started climbing up the ladder again, and then I met this other gal who'd turn out to be my second wife, which I had kids with. And then during the early days of our divorce, my oldest daughter from that union. She passed away under suspicious terms. And yeah, so that really blew my mind, and I didn't really give a damn anymore, and I just started drinking and smoking. I went from a pack a day to about 3 packs a day after my daughter passed away, and I was drinking like almost a 2-4 a day while working a full-time job as a truck driver delivering car parts. Like, I would come home from work and I'd raid the fridge and I'd grab like 2 beer bottles at the time because I wanted to hurry up and get my buzz going before I had to go to bed. I had to get up early the next day because I was the one who'd open up and print out all the runs for the other drivers and get the lift truck and start loading them with the big parts. And then I'd do my truck last, and I'd take off and do my run, and then I'd come home and start drinking again. It was just a vicious cycle. There was no ending in sight until finally I just couldn't stand the pain. I had diabetic nerve pain, and my boss was starting to lay off some people, and I said, look, I'd like to be in that gang. I can't handle this anymore. I'm in too much freaking pain. So that's when he agreed and laid me off, and when I went to see my general practitioner, he said, yeah, he says, you're diabetic. I mean, real bad. So I didn't know it was diabetic nerve pain back then. I just knew I was in such pain I could hardly function. So he put me on all kinds of pills, which till this day, I take more pills than a guy my age should. In fact, one of the viewers actually says to me, hey, I'm an old coot and you must be an old coot too. And he's 77, and I almost laughed. I was like, wow, I'm 54. Jesus Christ. I guess abusing my body with all the alcohol and smoking really did quite a number on me, because I know I could see myself. I got like these jowls things going on and all these deep wrinkles. Yeah, I should have moisturized. What the hell. But anyway, yeah, so getting back to what I was saying, I stopped working, and about a year later I had a stroke. And that was not very good, because no longer working, I wasn't moving around much, and I had just acquired the home that I'm in right now. It hadn't been a month I was here, and I was cleaning up outside, and I fell flat on my face having a stroke. So since I knew what they were, because my grandmother and my mom both died of strokes, I knew I had to get my blood thin real fast. So, as I was waiting after calling 911, I reached for a bottle of aspirin that I had, the 500 milligrams, which is the extra strength. And I grabbed a handful. There must have been a dozen in there. And I just downed those suckers. And when I got to the emergency room, the doctor asked me what medication I'm on. And I told him, I said, well, I don't know all the names by heart, but I said, I just took a handful of aspirin. And he says, what the heck do you do that for? I said, well, to keep my blood clear, thin it out, because I know what this is about, my mom and grandmother died of it. He says, yeah, but you could have died of a brain hemorrhage. I'm like, yeah, I live way out in the country. Do you think I want to stay crippled? Because I was paralyzed. I don't know if I said that. Anyway, I was paralyzed. My whole left side, even my face was just drooping. And anyway, he's giving me shit saying, you could have had a brain hemorrhage and died. I'm like, okay. But, I mean, I don't want to die, but I think that's where I was, going. Like, I'd rather that than be paralyzed and, living out in the country, who's going to stack my firewood and all that crap? You know, I'm not set up over here with a wheelchair ramp and all that. So anyway, I was in the hospital for about a week, and the first couple days, the nurses gave me quite a bit of a runaround because I was still smoking at the time, and I was bugging them every few minutes. You know, I wanted to go outside and, you know, have a cigarette. So I'd ask them to help me off of the bed and into the wheelchair because they had me in observation. You're not in your own room. It's like one great big, like a great big, almost like an auditorium type of thing with the nurses station in the center and all these beds lined up all around. So they'd help me out of the bed and into the wheelchair, and they'd kind of laugh because, like, the first few times they had to push me to the door, and then this one time the nurse was like, "No, we ain't got time for that. You work it out." And right, here I am, the one-armed bandit. What do you think happens when you're in a wheelchair and you try to go forward with one hand? It's like rowing a damn canoe with one oar. You go in circles. Well, I never give up, okay? That's my philosophy, and I've lived by that since I was a kid. You know, my dad left when I was 8 years old, so I had no choice but to figure things out and make them work. So when I saw that with one hand, you know, going around like this, I'm going in circles. I don't know if that motion was perfect in the camera, but anyway. So I decided to put my right foot down on the ground and kind of give myself little shots like this, you know, going forward on the chair. And that worked. And then with my right hand on the wheel, I was kind of guiding it, you know, if I needed to go a bit more to the left or to the right. But I was able to get around, you know, and that surprised the nurses. And I told them, I said, "Look, you're dealing with a genius over here." I just laughed. Anyway, so yeah, sure, I made a video where I mentioned about, you know, maybe starting a GoFundMe. I wasn't saying or, you know, suggesting that I'm going to mooch off of 46 subscribers. But I do have 5,000 friends, like I said earlier, and who knows? I mean, maybe some of the people that I've helped in the past can turn around and, you know, scratch my back for a change. That's all I meant. You know, when you're down and you're rambling on, you say things like, I was just shooting off stuff, kind of ranting, because I'm really bummed out. My youngest daughter, who's autistic also, got kicked out by her mom about a month and a half ago over some stupid thing. They had an argument, and she throws her out, your own kid. And she's been profiting from her monetarily, because my daughter is also disabled, even though she looks like a kid. I mean, she probably will never have a full-time job. And I really want to look out for her. So if anything, if these videos could be successful, I'd like to monetize this channel, and that would be hers. Just like this house I was renovating, and as you can see behind me, I'm still on the vapor barrier and the wood stripping going across. It's ready for the gyprock. But after the stroke, I mean, I just had no strength in my left side. So if I lift something, I'm like, you know, like I can't just pick that up and hold it. So I have a lot of trouble. I haven't even got my flooring done. I'm still on plywood. So, yeah, like, I mean, I put all brand new windows and doors. So that gave a bit of value to the place. And I built a woodshed. Well, a tin shed, but I call it my woodshed because that's where I put all my firewood. And I built it right up against the house, so I just open a door and I'm in the woodshed. So I don't have to go outside in the snow and freeze to bring in wood. You know, when you have to do 3 or 4 runs back and forth with a plastic bin or a box full of wood and the blowing snow, I don't have to do that because I used my noggin here. why not build a shed right up against the house and put a door to get in it, you know? So instead of going down the stairs, well, first of all, you'd have to shovel off the snow, go down the stairs, walk over to the wood pile, clear it off from the snow, pick up the tarp or whatever is, you know, covering the wood, fill up a box, walk all the way back, walk up the stairs, bring it inside, go back, do another load, and do this 3 or 4 times, you know, when it's blowing and cold. I don't have to do that no more. Now I could just go out there in my slippers and just pick up a few more pieces of wood, and that's it. So I'm really proud of that idea. It saved me a lot of work, especially, you know, my health is not what it used to be. And since the stroke, and because of my diabetes, my breakfast every morning is 13 pills. Hang on, I'll show you. Okay. See this? They call this a disc pill out here, which is a pill dispenser. The top row, that's morning. So each top row, each one for each day, has 13 pills in it, out of which one is a blood thinner, because since my stroke, it's to keep the blood platelets from, you know, making more clots. And I have one for acid reflux. So that means there's 11 pills in there that are all for my diabetes. 2 of them are for diabetic nerve pain, which I'm at the maximum. It's Lyrica, what also people get for fibromyalgia. And then nothing for lunch. Supper, I got 2 more diabetes pills. And then for bedtime, I got 2 more Lyricas for the pain. And then I've got another acid reflux pill. And there's one in there I really don't remember. I think it's also a diabetic thing to lower my sugar. And aside from all these pills I'm taking, I had to get these fancy orthotics made to measure, especially for me, for my feet, because that's how bad my diabetic nerve pain is. And I spent most of the summer last year going around with a hole in the bottom of one of my feet because of the bones creating a pressure point. They were like crooked like this, you know. It was always pressing, and yeah, really disgusting. And I'd go to the hospital and they'd dig it out, and then I'd come home, and I mean, I had to walk on it. I got nobody here. I don't have a maid or anything. So, and my dog don't understand, so I had to go and take him for his walk, regardless of, you know, my foot's full of blood. Like, he don't care, and I mean, I can't deprive him of his walk, and I mean, I still need the exercise too, regardless of pain. So now I'm just ranting and raving and going on, and this all started because of that hater that I just wanted to address. And I mean, even though you hate me and you don't even know me, I don't hate you. I actually wish you the best, and I really wish that you wouldn't judge people so quickly. You don't know everything I've been through. And, you know, that's what happens. If you judge a book by its cover, you don't know what the misery some people have gone through. If you just look at right now, what you think is going on, like you thought I was some kind of a mooch trying to use people. I'm not. I'm always helping. So I said a few things because, you know, I'm kind of depressed, which is another thing. Anyway, so I'm going to end this now. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.